You're watching Tech Talk in affiliation with Tech for Techs. We're a community that supports independent trade with the help of vendors and distributors. We're live every Thursday at 8 p.m. London time, and we'll be streaming to Facebook and YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Google, TuneIn, and many more. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, and your host, Philip Griffiths.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Tech for Tech's Tech Talk. This is a live show where we discuss different ways to basically help your IT business grow. And basically, if you didn't gather from the intro, my name's Phil Griffiths and I'm your host for today. And today's episode is What Do You Charge? Where we're going to be basically talking about what you charge, why you charge it, how you change it, and so forth. So let's have a look. So today we are joined by Jenni, Ben, Tim, Will, and Bruno, but Bruno's disappeared, and, well, here he is. He's back again now. So here's Bruno. Right, okay, so as you can see, we've got a full show. So let me just go through a few of my notes on here. So, yeah, first thing you need to do, guys, if you are on the Facebook group, make sure you click the link I'm going to put in chat in a few seconds. This will allow your name to be seen in the chat. Again, if you can hear us, see us, please chat and comment and let us know. Otherwise, we'll just be sat here talking to ourselves. So I'm just putting that in chat now. It should pop up. There's just a little bit of a delay between the live stream and what you're actually seeing of about 30 seconds by the looks of it. So, yeah, so that's on there. Right, so yeah, so make sure you click on that link, what I've put in chat, which is chat.restream.io/FB. That'll allow your name to be shown. Also, don't forget, make sure you give us a like, a thumbs up, or whatever. It allows the stream to get basically seen better on Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere else, which means obviously more people see us, and we grow and get better community, and so forth. Right, so I'm going to start off and ask everyone to introduce themselves. So first of all, we'll go to Jenni. If you want to introduce yourself, let us know who you are, what you do, and if you've got any tips and stories for us this week.
Hi, I'm Jenni. I'm the owner of Tech for Techs. Most of the things I'm going to be talking about in the next few weeks it's going to be Techmax related. And for those of you who do not know what Techmax is, simply put, we are hosting an event next year for our members, the distributors and vendors of the group, and that's what that is. And Techmax is almost sold out as far as tables go. If you're a vendor distributor to want to stand, I have, I think, 4 more tables that I can sell without having to pinch us all together like sardines, and I don't want to do that. So get yourself, if you want to go to Techmax, get yourself in contact with Phil or myself. Make sure to arrange something and make confirmations if you haven't already, because tables are going really, really fast. And if you haven't confirmed your tables, we'll be releasing those soon. So you don't want to lose your tables.
Okay, yeah, that's just to confirm to everyone is Techmax, that's next year, 24th of June, 2022. Tickets for general attendees are not for sale yet. They will be going for sale very soon on the 29th. That is also a day we're going to have a live show where we're going to be talking about the event in a bit more in depth about who's coming and what to expect. So there's going to be a few big names there. Don't get me wrong, not everyone's 100% confirmed. You know what these big companies are like. It takes them about a year just to figure out what they're going to have for the dinner of that evening and stuff like that. They have to all agree with different departments. But again, if you are wanting a table to show off your wares, goods, services, whatever it is, make sure you get in contact because we've got very few left. We're trying to get more in there by rearranging the floor plan, but there's only so much we can do.
We are only allowing 1 table per company right now due to the shortage. So whereas when we first started selling the tables, you could get 2, maybe 3, 4, whatever. We're limiting it to 1 table per company right now.
And that's on new orders, not past orders. So anyone
That's
who's
right.
already got
That's
2
right.
tables have still got 2. It's just on new
Yeah.
ones. Right, let's move on to Ben. So Ben, if you'd like to tell us who you are, what you do, and what your tip of story of the day is.
Yeah, good evening, Phil. My name is Ben Ashcroft. I run Bugs and Bytes Computing in sunny Lincoln. Mainly deal in refurbished laptop sales, both to trade and to end users. Also deal with desktops and gaming PCs. Tip of the day, or tip of the week, this week is about back to school and university promotions. It's still a few weeks away till the start of the new term, but it's one of those times you can really push the sales. Start folk off with nice budget but usable laptops, not the HP streams. The good stuff with the SSDs, 256 SSD, 8 gig RAM. I tend to buy batches of machines in, so at the moment I'm sitting with about 50, 60 HPs of the 250 G6 models, and yeah, nice machines. I go out, folk love them, don't seem to get too many issues with them. And also you push accessories as well, so you can push a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse combo, an external webcam if the built-in one's not up to too much, that sort of thing. And also remember to do a lot of extra advertising through your Facebook page, as well as any marketplace, that sort of thing as well.
Okay, some pretty good advice there. I must admit, it's a good time to start getting posters done. If you've got a store, stick them on the front of your store and stuff like that. Social media, as Ben said, yeah, good time. It's not too early to think about these things. And even if you've got some spare time, think about Christmas promotions even. You don't have to put the actual product on your poster, but design some stuff, get it ready, and so forth. Let's just quickly go through chat. So we've got Alison saying good evening. We've also got Peter Campbell saying hello. And hello back. We've got Alan as well. Hi, Alan. We've got James saying good evening. Raheem as well. Hey, Raheem. And Peter, don't worry if you're late, Peter. Luckily, you can start from the beginning again if you really want to. And you can catch us later on a podcast if you really want as well. Right. Okay, let's move on to Tim then. Tim, let us know who you are, what you do, and everything else.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, so my name is Tim. I run TKM, PM and IT Solutions, and so I'm in North Yorkshire, which is where I'm based. Yeah, so my big tip for, also a bit of advice I would give is, if you got say new business to particularly business to business customers or the long-term support jobs. Don't be afraid to go in and ask questions. If you spot, prime example, when you got a new one this week and the customer didn't have any kind of central server or anything, 6 computers, make it better. It was a scrapyard, so these machines were covered in all sorts of gunk and everything else. So the odds of them getting wrecked because of the environment was quite high. So I asked a question and I've managed to get the customer to agree to, with me looking after everything, new server as well as replacing a couple of their machines for it. So yeah, don't be afraid to push those extra, call it future-proofing, to help benefit the customer and also yourself at the end of the day.
Okay, some pretty good advice. Yeah, it's always good to keep in contact with your current customers and so forth. We always, especially people who are on service contracts, arrange to go around once a year, even if we've not seen them and they've not reported any problems, just so we can check that everything's working fine. And obviously try and sell them on something else. I'm going to say, you've already got a relationship with them, so 50% of the work's already done. So, right, let's move on to Will. So, Will, let us know who you are, what you do, and any tips or advice you've got for us.
Hi there, I'm Will from Consumer Tech in Dunfermline near Edinburgh. Lovely Dunfermline tonight. I mainly do break repair computers, but also specialise in managed service provider. Software, hardware, anything. I can do any technology that I supply to customers and businesses. I think my tip of the evening, with it being pricing and leading on from Tim, is take deposits from your customers when they're placing orders. I've been tricked out myself a few times, and you think I'd learn, but no. Trust is a vanishing topic just now with trust. But yeah, take deposits from customers. Don't be frightened to ask for 10%, even if it's anything they're pre-ordering or anything they've dropped off to you. I don't tend to take money up front for repairs, but I will take a deposit. And I've found out that customers are quite happy to pay upfront or deposits and things like that to get it. So ask for it. Gives you cash flow as well coming into your business, enabling you to buy other stock and upsell things and pay your bills early, things like that. So yeah, that's my tip of this week is take deposits from customers.
Yeah, it's definitely a good idea. I'm going to say in some cases even take the full amount. It's very rare we even take deposits now. We do a diagnostic fee on repairs, which is sort of like a deposit, because if they go ahead with a repair, then we don't actually charge them the diagnostic fee, if you get what I mean. So our diagnostics fee is it's £30 at the moment, where obviously if the repair's only £50 or whatever, we don't charge them 50 quid plus the 30, we just charge them the £50. But if they decide they don't want the repair, then we make sure we get that 30 quid off them, basically. So also gets rid of a lot of time wasters as well, we find. Right, yes. Let's go on to Bruno. So Bruno, it's been a while since you've been on the show. If you want to let us know who you are, what you do, any news or stories or tips for us as well.
Yeah, so I'm Bruno from Morley Computer Sales and Repairs, based in Morley, which is south of Leeds. I do the break fix type of repairs, and recently started doing maintenance contracts with startups and small businesses. And my tip of the day for our fellow techs, it's basically a solution for remote support. So I started doing the maintenance contracts and needed to look for a permanent solution, or at least a solution that will last a long time and it's reliable. Prices vary a lot between companies. However, the functionalities are pretty much the same, except one or two companies that do kind of incorporated systems. So I ended up going with Splashtop, and quite pleased with it. So I've been recently onboarding a customer that has 10 computers and under 2 megabytes of internet, and so the connection was really slow and laggy. However, Splashtop didn't crash once, even doing Windows updates remotely and things like that. So it's very reliable. And comparing to TeamSpeak that I was using before, as soon as the internet connection fails a little bit, that's it. You're gone. You have to reconnect all over again. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good advice there. There's lots of different remote support packages other than TeamViewer out there. TeamViewer is a bit of a funny one, especially when they want you to pay a year in advance or whatever, which adds up to quite a bit. I must admit, Splashtop, I've seen that mentioned quite a few times. Our RRM does support it, or should I say RMM, not RRM, does support it, Ninja, and there's a few others as well. So is everyone able to see me properly? Because a couple of people are saying that my screen is frozen. Yeah, it's probably just within the software, guys. So it's looking fine on the other end. So no doubt the chat will be going crazy if they couldn't see me properly. Right. Okay. So I'm guessing it's on to my news, advice, and stories. But first, before we do that, we've got to do this.
Cherry is the market leader and expert for mechanical switches and keyboards, as well as the specialist for computer input devices within its two business areas, gaming and professional. At its headquarters in Auerbach in Bavaria, Germany, the company develops and produces high-quality key switches as well as keyboards.
There we go. So that was from Cherry. If you are interested in purchasing any Cherry products, it's a good thing to look at if you're looking at peripherals, because all their boxes look the same. Well, obviously, then the picture, the actual product is a little bit different on each box, but otherwise they're all uniform and it looks pretty good. And again, it's a decent brand, especially for kids and stuff these days. Everyone wants Cherry switches, and well, where better to get them from is, well, from Cherry. So, and they've got quite a few different variations, and we've got some reviews coming up in around about a month's time as well of some of their products. I think we've gone and lost Bruno, and he's back again. So Bruno keeps disappearing.
Yeah, no idea what's happening there.
I hope you don't do this to your customers because that'll annoy them. Right. Okay, so my tips and stories of the day. So first of all, Tech for Text has now over 1,250 members. So that's 1,250. So we've got quite a few members. A lot have joined in the last week or two, especially since we've been talking a lot about Techmax and different things like that. So that's pretty good. So if you're a new member, hi guys, thanks for watching. And even if you're not a new member, thanks for watching. But if you are not a member and you want to join, make sure you go to tech4text.co.uk/join. That's tech4text.co.uk/join, and you'll be able to basically sign up on there. Just make sure you fill the questions in, otherwise you won't get in. So right, let's have a look. Earlier on today I did another live stream. This is my second one of the day, so if you missed it, it was with Cooler Master, and it was called their Summer Summit, and it was basically like a bit like a over-the-top game sort of thing, a bit like Minecraft style, but they've got like a virtual world where you could walk around and basically interact with all the new products and read up about them. They've got some nice products, including a $15,000 chair. Yes, you heard me right, $15,000 chair. But bear in mind, it looks pretty impressive. It basically all folds out and everything around you and stuff. So it's a bit like a pod basically, and you can put like a 49-inch screen in there and all sorts. So you can either go out and buy yourself a new car, or you can get one of those chairs. I know what I'm thinking.
Chair, that's a throne.
Yeah, it pretty much is. It looks quite impressive. They've also got some streaming boxes which look quite impressive. You don't need a PC hooked to it, hooked up to it or anything like that. All you need is an iPad and go from there. So that looks interesting. Be interesting to get my hands on one of those. And for anyone who's interested in the half cases from Cooler Master, they are bringing out a new half case, which they sort of brought out the H500 model a couple of years ago, which had a few issues and so forth, which wasn't a true half case. Well, they're actually bringing a brand new half case out now, which is a proper half. And if you're not sure what a half is and you're really confused, it stands for high airflow case. Okay, half. So I did not see the number of products they actually got, or count them all, should I say. But they've got around about 25 products that are coming out in the next few months, from cases to the streaming boxes and power supplies and so forth. So you can see the video if you just go to our YouTube channel, so it's youtube.com/tech4text. You'll find it on there. So also in the news, did I not say a few months ago, rumors about Windows 11 were going around that I would not be surprised if Microsoft did something like a subscription-based version of Windows and call it something like Windows 365. Well, they're actually doing it. So, surprise, surprise. So, but this is going to be more of a virtual machine-based one. So you access it, I'm guessing, with a web browser or something along that lines, and you'll be able to access it from anything you want, including a Mac. Actually, I don't think they included Amiga on that list, Ben. So, so unfortunately, you won't be able to use your Amiga to do it. But you'll be able to access Windows. So basically, a virtual machine. So basically, I'm guessing it'll be set up so you can access it no matter what machine you access it on. It's going to look exactly the same for you. Have your programs, apps, and however you want it. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be going down that route of things because I've got around about 70 terabytes of data. So I'd hate to think how much they would charge me per month to host all that. So also, sticking with Microsoft said if they get 20,000 likes earlier on a specific post, they would replace the paperclip emoji in Microsoft's Windows 365 or Office 365 or whatever you want to call it this day and age with Clippy. So if you don't know who Clippy is, well, he was an annoying paperclip that used to haunt your nightmares. Yeah, that's him. So that paperclip's back, or it looks like it's going to be back. For anyone who regularly used Office 97, it would always basically pop up all the time with a device when you was not really needing it. So, well, he's coming back. So, but as an emoji this time, so probably won't be as bad.
He was like a little virus, is what he was.
So he was You could actually change it to different symbols, I think, including the MSN symbol, and I think there's a little robot and a few other things, but everyone always had a paperclip on that. Also, the specs have leaked for the 12th Gen Intel CPUs, with some saying that they will perform or outperform AMD processors by around 8 to 10%. Well, until AMD brings out some new CPUs, probably a few months after that. So that's good, but unfortunately that means new motherboards, because they'll be using socket LGA 1700 rather than 1200. So we've only really had 1 or 2 generations where they've been on socket 1200, so we're moving yet again, making things even more difficult than usual. But the new i9 12900K, yes, they need a better model number system, but 12900K will come with 8+8 cores, which basically means that you'll have 8 high-performance cores and 8 energy-efficient cores. So, and the thread count will be up to 24 threads. So that's interesting. There's no ETA, but it looks like they're saying it's going to be around what they call holiday season in the States, which is usually like Thanksgiving, Christmas time. So November time, I'm guessing, this year, which coincidentally is also the same time Windows 11 is supposedly due out. So coincidence or not, I don't know. Right, so let's go on.
I just wanted to say, to Cooler Master, if you're listening here, and you probably are because you're really popular like we are, I would be more than happy to review your chair. Just get right in touch with us, and I will give it a fair and unbiased review.
Yeah, and if you want to supply all the guest hosts on here as well as myself one, yeah, go ahead. We'll love you for it.
I'd be happy to try it.
Oh, I wasn't about trying it. I was on about saying keep it.
So you can win one.
I thought that was the condition.
It is. All terms and conditions of TFT apply. If you send us a chair, we'll review it, and I'll let you know exactly what I think about it.
Yeah, Peter's just saying about the Windows Online or 365. It's basically, yeah, it's built with fixed per user per month cost. So I've not heard anything about the cost of that. Have you yet, Peter? I know you've probably been playing with it. So let us know if you know anything about the costing. I'm guessing they'll keep it quiet till the last minute, though. Right. Okay, so let's go on to the main topic. What was the main topic? Oh, yeah, it's pricing. So what do you charge? How do you charge? What do you do? And all this, that, and the other. So what I'm going to do is go to Jen first, because she's the first picture on the screen. So the first question to you, Jen, is how do you cost your pricing?
Well, it depends on what I'm doing, first of all. So let's just say that someone brings me something in the door that I've not really worked with before. I've got to look at it and evaluate it and say, right, I will first of all need to do diagnostics on this. So diagnostics to begin with are 30 pounds. And that's an unarguable charge there. You know, you have to get diagnostics run. Depending on the outcome of it. If it's a laptop that was around 25 years ago, I'm going to look at it and go, you know, I'm probably going to have a hard time getting parts for this. And I might even tell the customer, you're going to do better just getting a new laptop rather than doing a repair. But if they really want the repair, I've got to look at the costings to me first and add all of that up. And then I've got to put into it not just my costings, but my labor as well. What amount of time am I spending on it? Is it just a 1-hour job? Is it 2 days? You know, have I got to do data transfer, recovery, things like that? And the more time that I have to spend on it, the more the price is going to go up. But the minimum labor charge is 50 pounds. That's the minimum labor. And if it's something where I've got to take it apart and basically rebuild it, well, then you've got to go up a bit, depending on what's to be done. But I'll start out. My minimum labor fee is £50.
Okay, that's pretty good. Let's go on to Ben. Let's see if he's got a more technical way of how he adds up his costing and so forth. So Ben, so how do you work out how much you're going to sell an item for?
So yeah, the diagnostics for me, if you bring a faulty machine, I'll just charge you flat £24. If you buy a unit, a replacement unit, I'll knock £24 on the head and just say, look, just pay for the cost of the unit. And I'll buy your scrap machine for part X for parts, that sort of thing anyway. Because my business is mostly sales rather than repairs, I do repairs, but I'm very much hardware and sales rather than I don't get involved in the software side of things. It's my nemesis, as most of you all know by now. So generally when I'm pricing stock to the end user, I'll normally price it about 15 to 20% higher than eBay prices. And people will be thinking, why am I charging higher than eBay prices? Well, a lot of the stock out there on eBay is not as good as perhaps it seems. I've heard this from a lot of customers who are now good trade customers who said this as well to me. So it's not just my own opinions and thoughts. Also, eBay is a very saturated market and it's driving prices down. I don't sell a lot on there unless I have to, unless it's a very niche product. And then users are quite happy to pay the extra because I find a lot of them, they're quite happy to come and have a look at a few different machines, and I go through the pros and cons of each machine and tell me you want this one instead of this one. I mean, my firm favourite's got to be the Dell Latitude range. I absolutely love my Dell Latitudes. I sell them all day, all night. I did a run of Latitude E5570s. I think I sold between 450 and 500 of them, and just uber reliable. So that's like my go-to machine. Trade price will usually be a little less, but not a lot less than eBay prices. So yeah, but the other thing I find, pricing can be quite subjective. It depends both on the area and the customer themselves, because certain customers don't like Dells, certain customers don't like HPs. They'll pay less or pay more for them as such. And yeah, again, I find the geographical location as well. You know, I'm in Lincoln. Lincoln's quite sort of moderately affluent, I would say. I know folk, for instance, who live in Nottingham, and they'll struggle to sell something they'll sell for sort of £250, £300. They'll struggle to get sort of £150, £200 for it there. But yeah, it is.
Yeah, there you go. Right, yeah, so that's pretty good. I think Ben's answered all the next question and next question and next question as well for him all in one go. So he's going to have an interesting time when we come back to him in a bit. But right, let's go over Tim. So let's break it down a little bit more. So how do you figure out your as in costs to actually sell something, Tim? So like, for example, overheads and stuff like that.
The way I work, I've got fixed hourly rates, which I say they don't change. So that's how I always sell the service to the customer. I always say that's the first way I get them in the door. I always say I need to see what they'd like me to repair first. I won't quote, yes, this part's X amount, because, for example, if it's a laptop with a broken script LCD, I might have to get the bezel that needs to go around it. And as Jenny said about the older laptops, getting the bezels for it isn't as much of a nightmare as I think recently I've had a laptop. Someone said, was the screen worth fixing? And it was a 10-year-old laptop, and a new LCD was about 80 quid for a replacement one. And that's the cheapest I found it for. So yeah, I always assess how much part's going to be, and then I put markup on top of that, and then give the customer that price plus my markup. As was mentioned earlier about deposits and things like that as well. If a repair or anything's going to come to over a certain amount, I always ask for as much of it as possible up front for the job. Then I order the part, they're committed, so it stops them pulling out last minute. Or after I'm stuck with the stuff and I owe my supply money as well. And yeah, it's and it's worked so far. So yeah, there's another place you said as well by, I think it was you, Phil, or it might be Jenny. You have a pricing thing, you say it's X amount up front. It gets rid of the chancers that just want to know what's wrong, so they can go somewhere else and do it themselves, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah, you get rid of the bonkers.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I live in an area where I've got lots of them, and they think they know better, so they'll go and try and get me to give them the answer, but I don't do that. But where I do cross sales as well, because I do stuff in London, Manchester, and that kind of thing. Yeah, I charge slightly higher there because I know where you live, you can get away with charging more because the market and people won't think twice if you charge more in certain areas. So yeah, really, so that's pretty much how I do it. But yeah, I do say up the price depending if it's say one of my customers, like my business customers. Yes, they get higher rates than some of the home fixes will say, but it all depends sometimes where it is. So, but parts wise, it's the same. It's just whatever it is plus X amount, a percentage on top of it that covers my including delivery charge, and so I'm not out of pocket on any of it.
Okay, sounds pretty good. Let's go on to Will then. Will, how do you work out your costs? As in, what cost you?
For me recently, I built an office in my garden. So the total cost of that, to get my hourly rate sort of thing, I took the cost of it over the year and divided it down per day to make sure that I was covering the cost of my new location, and I also put a percentage on top of parts as well. But yeah, like Tim was saying, it depends on the location. I'm in an area where it's pretty good. You know, customers are quite happy to pay, especially if they've got Apple products. You know, the price of Apple products is, you could always charge more for that, and they're happy to pay it. I wouldn't rip them off. You know, I wouldn't do that. But I phone around competitors and pretend I'm a customer to try and get prices on things, do a bit of research. But yeah, I charge about £25 for a diagnostic fee. And like everybody else, I think they take that price off if they're buying a new laptop or a refurbished laptop, or come to a negotiation deal, or take the trade in and things like that. So yeah, my overheads, like from the managed service provider side of things, especially if you're providing Microsoft 365, always go from prices from your supplier, your vendor, to what Microsoft are charging. But also bear in mind that you can't get hold of Microsoft customer services very easily. So your customers are going to be asking you the question. So add a little bit more on top. You know, and even if they say, but they're only charging $5.99 for Office 365 per month, yeah, but you've got me at the end of a phone for advice and setup. So always put a few pounds extra on top of your subscription rates, because at the end of the day, your customer hopefully is going to come back to you and ask the questions anyway. And 9 times out of 10, would you charge for 5 minutes of advice on the phone, or would you rather have a good reputation with that customer? So think ahead. You know, add a few pounds back onto your subscription cost. That's
Exactly.
It's working for me just now. So yeah, it's working good. But I always let myself down at times. There's always that moment where you underprice things and you think, oh God, what have I done there? But I tend to make it up on other customers, or they're a repeat customer, or I sell them a support plan, you know, a maintenance contract every month, and hopefully they don't require my services too much. When in the support plan fee, I'll cover it. So yeah, we've all got our moments. You know, we all have our moments where I've memory lapse and things like that. But yes, so far that's my sort of model of thinking anyway. So, but I'm always open to suggestions from other Tech for Tech members. It's always good that we have a chat back and forward about costing and pricing and surveys and all that stuff. So yeah, learn as you go as well. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good thing right at the end. Always learn as you go. Always carry on learning. When you stop learning, that's when you stand still, and that's when you die. So carry on learning, okay? I'm not trying to be morbid or anything, but...
No.
Right, let's move on to Bruno. So Bruno, brighten the mood up. So how do you work out your costing and stuff like that?
Well, I guess I've committed all the mistakes that everyone basically does. So I underpriced myself. I did free diagnose and things like that. And eventually, as I started becoming more busy or busier, I realized that, you know what, maybe certain customers, you know, it's not really worth doing it for free. So I started charging £20 for diagnose. And then of course it gets taken out of the bill if they decide to order the parts through me or do the repair through me or buy a new computer or whatever it is. I price myself per hour at £40. And that basically covers most of the jobs. So things like data transfer, screen replacements, for example, I get it for a certain price and I add £40 on top, and that is the price that I quote the customer. Of course, with certain screens, you're going to spend 2 hours on it, but with most screens, maybe you spend half an hour. So you win some, you lose some. And I think, you know, it's not too expensive to the customer, but at the same time, it's not too low for me either. And it keeps me busy. So that's the way that I found. However, just like what Peter Whitehouse said, that yes, or they have separate higher labor rate for Apple, it's something that I've actually been thinking the past few weeks, because if someone comes in with an iMac to diagnose because it's not turning on, it's going to take me a considerable amount of time. So maybe the £20 is not really going to cover that time. I do have a few separate prices for things like motherboard replacement. So if someone comes with me with a tower and tells, oh, I need a graphics card replacement, I'll just charge 1 hour, that's it, or even half an hour. If someone comes with a tower and says, oh, I need motherboard replacement, and then I see there's cables all over the place and it's all messy and it's going to take me a while to get through things, I charge 1.5 hours just before I do anything. And yeah, that's kind of the way that I've been working. But then again, my business is still very new, very recent. It's growing very fast as well. So I'm always learning with you guys and, you know, adjusting the things as it should be, so I'm not underpriced or overpriced.
Yeah,
it sounds like you've got a really good handle on things there. I did the same thing though when we opened our store. I did the free diagnostics and the no fix, no fee guarantee. And it sounds good and everything until you get every person through your door who has had their computer in the basement for 5 years plus and wants you to take a look at it and see if you can fix it for me. And then they don't come back for 6 months plus to pick it up when you say it can't be done, or they don't want to pay the price for it to be done and you're stuck with it. So yeah, we've all done that before. Since Phil and I started doing the diagnosis fee, we've had a lot less time wasters through the door. I mean, you can cut them in half because people that are sincere about getting it fixed don't mind paying for it. Mm-hmm. They know that you're worth your time, you see.
That's it. If the customers come into you as well, you've done half of the sale. So if they've already come to you, so they're going to be trusting you somewhat when they come into you. So make sure the pricing is realistic. Regarding the pricing, what a good way to work your costs out. And again, this is something what a lot of people struggle with. It is, how do you work how much your costing is? As in, okay, yeah, it's going to cost you for your part, but you've got all your other overheads. So, for example, your bills, your rent, your tax, and all your other things, services you pay for. For example, if you're using something like Ninja or Repair Shop or Synchro, that's all costing you, and your equipment costs you so much. Best thing to do is add it all up and do similar to what Will says, is divide it by how many days per year. Then you know how much you've got to basically do to break even over that day. If you know how many jobs you've done in that last year on average a day, you could say, oh, I've done average 3 jobs every day. Then you basically divide that cost by 3 jobs, and you know how much each job on average is costing you, minus obviously parts. And that way you can work out how much profit you're making. So obviously make sure you charge enough. It's one thing a lot of people do is they'll go really cheap to begin with. And yes, guilty, I've done it in the past. You go cheap, you think, oh yeah, undercut all the competition, get plenty of work in. And a lot of time, the customers you get in are not the best customers because they want everything done for nothing, as others have been saying. You just end up attracting the polite words
lesser
for
crowd.
Yeah, you basically attracting customers you don't really want to be dealing with. So always make sure you price yourself well. Check with competitors. That's a good way to go. And I don't mean the guys who are the cheapest. I mean people who are generally average and high. Check with their prices. You don't want to be known as the cheap people who do it really cheap, and the only reason people go to you is because you're cheap. You want people to come to you because they trust you, and so forth. And you'd be surprised the different clientele you get when you charge more. And in a lot of cases, they will pay more. They'll buy more expensive machines. They'll buy more expensive replacements, which you're not ripping them off. It's just that you're getting customers who actually want to pay money.
Also, when we first opened the shop, we wanted a catchy little motto. And I said, I know what we can do. I know. It's as cheap as chips. Don't you wish everything was? Well, it sounded good, kind of catchy and everything. But John at Target at that time decided cheap was not a good word. And he explained to us, cheap implies nasty. No one wants nasty. So do you want to really advertise your shop as being cheap? Because it comes across as Poundlandish sounding. No offense, Poundland. But so I thought about it and I said, all right, that little catchy, jingly thing that we had going there, we got to scrap that and not be known as the cheapest place. You just don't want to be known as that. It's just not attractive. So avoid putting the word cheap in advertisements. And another thing, if you can, avoid will undercut people. That's if you're having to attract customers with being the cheapest, then something's going wrong somewhere else. You need to dive deeper down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people get cheap and value mixed up. Cheap basically means cheap, nasty. Value means you're getting more for your money. So always trying to aim for that value side of things rather than cheap. Not everyone knows the difference, but sorry,
just what Jen was saying. I don't undercut people. I'll match prices if I can, but I never tend to undercut because I feel that you're, like you say, you're coming across as trying to be the cheap one, and I want to get along with my competitors as well, which I do. So yeah, I match prices. But yeah, undercutting is not a good way forward. Yeah.
We're not used car salesmen.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you don't want to be, is the used car salesman. Buy it now, buy it from Bob's used car lot. You really don't. Because he'll undercut anyone. He won't be beaten. And that's not it. You want to assert yourself and be thought of as, I'm worth X amount. And if you're not willing to pay it, well, then I'm sorry. You'll have to go down the street to someone who will. But most people that are sincere about getting things repaired, they don't mind. They know they can't do it themselves, and they value you and your knowledge, and they're willing to pay it.
I think as well, and I hope this doesn't sound strange in the context, sometimes it's not all about the money, because it's like I had someone brought a machine in this week. Her daughter had forgotten the password to get into Windows, and it was a live account, and all her thesis was there or something she had to finish off, and she couldn't lose any of the data. She left it with me, and I thought I'd have to remove the password and end up charging her. And I just restarted the machine and let me get back in with the same PIN number she'd given me. So I just sort of phoned her. I says, look, I said, I can't really charge you. I says, I've got back in just by restarting the computer, She went to give me a tip, and I said, well, don't leave me a tip, just leave me a good review. And sometimes that's worth
exactly
as much for diagnostic. Good review on Google. Google's probably where I get a good percentage of my work coming from.
Yeah.
And some of my trade coming from.
Yeah, I mean, that's a similar thing to how I get a lot of work. It's where I've done a good job for one person locally, and they spread the word to other people, and pretty much I'm known where I live. People go around, they know what I do. I get nabbed on as I'm walking to and from home to the office for stuff, and I can't go anywhere really without being. And that's how I got a new business sign up to me this week. They knew people where people around, and that's why they want me to look after their business stuff. So
wonderful.
I mean,
the best sales pitch.
You've got that customer trust.
Yeah.
We've gotten most of our customers word of mouth.
Yeah.
And it all started with Phil's call outside. His call out customers would tell their friends, neighbors, relations, whatever. Oh, Phil does an excellent job. You ought to get him to come out to yours. And, he would just build up relationships with people. And that's what we're about, really, at the end of the day. We're not so much sales as we are relationship people.
Yeah, I'm going to say there's all good points there. That's pretty good, to be honest with you. Let's just go to the chat and go through a few of the things we've missed. We've got Paul saying, okay, oops, he's late, basically. Evening, hope you're all well. I think we're a bit late answering that one as well, to be honest with you, Paul. But yeah, we're doing well. We're here, we're alive, which is the main thing, and we're still trading. So I hope you're doing well. Also, let's have a look. Peter did mention about the pricing. That was for the Windows 365 2 vCPU. So yeah, 2-core CPU, 4 gig, 128 gigabyte machine will be $31 per user a month. Depends on how you want to look at that. So obviously you can access it anywhere, but it's a lot of money if you've got a lot of data.
It's a bit like they're trying to act as an MSP, but for the general public.
Yeah.
Isn't it? And then you add the Office 365 on top. So instead of 20, it's going to be 25. And then this and that. So they're kind of following the same kind of pattern.
Yeah, also, if you've only got 128 gigabytes for that, and Windows itself takes up, Windows 11 is going to be about 60 gigabyte, is that going to incorporate that as well, or is it going to be addition to that?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good point, that is. So maybe Peter sounds like the expert for that one.
I would presume that they've already accounted in for theirs. But to presume, yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely a few questions over that one. So can you upgrade it to make it a faster machine or whatever? But I can see where it's going to come in handy for people who work in the office and at home and so forth. They can log into the same system wherever they are, so they can probably log in on the normal home PC or the Mac at home into the work stuff, and it's all kept centrally. It's probably a good thing. So Paul's saying around about the same price as Shadow. And Shadow has higher end hardware. So yeah, it does sound like a similar thing, Paul. Right, let's go on to the pricing again. So, again, guys in this chat, if you've got any tips about pricing, any information you want to chuck in there and let us know about how you do your pricing, feel free. This show's for you guys as well. So just let us know exactly what's what. So, right, let's go on to our next one on here. So there's different pricing models of the way you can price things, okay? So you've got, obviously, hourly rates. Or do you basically charge a flat fee? Or have you got variable pricing, so it's slightly different for different things? Or even like we tried it once, Jen, where we had like a silver, gold, and platinum service sort of thing, where it sort of worked, but it didn't as well at the same time because it killed out upselling sort of thing in a way on a few other things. So we ended up making less in the long run. But how do you guys go about price and things? Let's start with you first, Jen, because you're there.
Well, basically, we asked the silver service, bronze, and everything. No one was reading the literature for it. B, it confused people and everything, So what I do, though, when I'm on the sales floor, and I'm trying to sell something, I let them tell me exactly what they need and what it's going to be used for. And then I make the executive decision of, all right, if this was my mom standing here telling me this, I would to pick 2 products to choose from. And I'd say, right, one of these. For instance, I had someone come in and wanted a refurbished laptop. And all he wanted it for was to book holidays on, play on Facebook, do a little gambling that he likes to do with the horses and things like that. And I don't have to tell you guys that most any laptop will do this that's been built this century. So I took him over to one of the, I won't say cheaper, but I'll say lower costing laptops. It had a Celeron processor. It had 4 gigabytes of RAM and a 240 gigabyte solid state drive. Nothing wrong with that. And I told him, I said, this will do it. This will do everything that you're telling me you need. Is there anything else that you can think of that you need it to do? And I needed to play DVDs. I said, check, you can do that too. Everything he was throwing at me, it could do it. So I sold him that one. And to me, it's not about making more. I could have sold him the high-end laptop. He could have gone out, been nonetheless happier. But you have to think about, what can I do? I wanted to get this guy's trust. I didn't want to rip him off. I wanted to get his trust, and I wanted to get his custom. I sold him the low-end one. I said, do you have antivirus? He says, no. I said, I have BullGuard in here for £30 if you're interested. And if I were you, I would actually get some protection on there, whether it be from me or wherever. He bought the BullGuard. And that approach is what I call, would you like fries with that? Because when you go in McDonald's, they always ask you, would you like fries with that? That's their upselling thing. And I upsold him BullGuard. I took a cut on the machine, and I upsold him on BullGuard. And here's why. With BullGuard, we have a revenue share. Every time he renews his BullGuard, I'm going to get that revenue share as well, you see. So there's money in the long run. You have to plan your upsell. You don't want to just upsell them a little mouse or something like that. You want to make it, worth it. And that's the way I do it.
Okay, very good. Let's move on to Ben then. So same question for you. How do you do your pricing? I'm guessing it's mainly sales, so it's going to be probably fixed prices, but tell us.
Well, just hitting back on what Jenni said there about upselling, upsell. It's key. It's always try and push to sell more. It's extra money. So I've got my stuff like my services, like Windows reinstallations, heatsink fan, clean, repaste. They were fixed prices. I mean, Windows reinstalls £72, clean and service £44, including VAT. SSD, normally if I'm doing like 240 SSD, will be £114 with a clean install. That sort of thing. They're all fixed prices. Quite sort of happy with them. I went to the VAT rise in December. Obviously, I'd put the VAT on top of that, and no one blinked an eye, which probably makes me think I should put the prices up a bit sooner. But there you have it. In regarding to the laptop sales, how I price them, it depends how I buy them. If they're machines that are refurbished or whether I've just bought them ready to sell. And it also depends on the quantity I buy them. If I'm buying sort of 50 or 60 machines, like I've recently done with a batch of HPs, I'll pay a set price per unit and I'll sell them at a set price per unit. Yeah, you'll get some units that you'll end up having to put a bit of money into, the faults that you maybe didn't know or repairs that need done, and it's part and parcel, isn't it? It's part of the game. You get stuff sometimes you have to spend a bit extra, and then the next batch will do a bit better on. But yeah,
Okay, so some good information about pricing as well. Putting your pricing up, as Ben says, he wished he did it sooner.
Oh yeah.
Surprising how much more profit you can by adding a fiver onto your services. Let's just say you were to do 5 jobs a day for a year, and you just put your prices up by a fiver on each of those jobs. Do you know how much you make? Over 9 grand extra profit. That £5 can add up to a hell of a lot of money. It might not sound a lot when you think, oh, it's only £5, you're not going to make much off of that. But yeah, over a year, that's nearly 10 grand. And that's just a fiver. Obviously, that's only if you're getting 5 jobs a day. If you're getting 10 jobs a day, that's 20 grand, and so forth. So that soon adds up. So, and if I'd done the same, since I started trading, 16 years ago? Let me get a calculator up here. That's nearly 150 grand.
It's a very nice holiday.
Yeah, that's one hell of a holiday. I'll be able to buy 10 of those Cooler Master chairs.
Don't be afraid to help someone tip this. Don't be afraid to tip the sale. And what I mean that is, all right, let's just say you have someone and they're wanting to buy something from you, but they can't make up their mind. They I don't know. And they may walk out that door, you don't want them to walk out the door. Once they walk out the door, you've lost it. You want to stay in control. So if you think for 1 second that you can get this sale underway, here's what you do. I'm going to give you my little secret. I tell you what you do. I can see that you're having a hard time here deciding. Here's what I'm willing to do. Today only, I will throw in 1 year of BullGuard internet security for free with the purchase. And if they're going to buy it, it's that moment. Don't be afraid to throw in something like that, because and I know that antivirus costs us pennies compared to what we're going to get in return. We've got a customer that's going to have things needing repairing on other computers, possibly, and you'll get your revenue with BullGuard as well. So think about that. Don't say, oh gosh, I'm giving stuff away. You're not really in the long term. Plan though. Don't give away the whole house, keyboards and mice and stuff like that. No. Think smart and do it like that, because you get a return on it.
Yeah, that's a good point there. And the reply to Paul, extra 9K is after tax and VAT. Well, it depends, if you're VAT registered, and if you are, you should be adding VAT on top of that fiver. Yep. So that covers that. And, well, I did say extra income, not profit. So obviously you do have to pay the tax man in all your bills. So I wish we didn't, but unfortunately we do. It would be a lot easier if we didn't. Right, I can't even remember who we asked last. I think it was Ben, weren't it? So I think we're on to Tim now. So how do you do your pricing, Tim? Is it like flat rate, hourly?
As a rule, I do an hourly rate for labour charge. I can once I've seen, I as a rule get the customer to bring the device to my office, and then I look at it there. Then usually it's a case of some jobs I can ascertain how long it's take. Sometimes they send me photos ahead of time, so I know what I'm in theory getting ahead of time. Then after that, it's go away, find the right part, see how much that's going to cost me. Add roughly minimum I do 30% markup on the parts usually. You say that covers, as we said earlier, covers the overheads, if you might want to say, the lights, coffee, and everything that goes with it.
Coffee.
Oh yeah, coffee machine's mandatory in my office. But yeah, do that with 30% markup. Whereas that's for if it's a repair kind of thing. If it's a business to business, I've got people that are on X amount per month. But that figure I work out after I've gone around the site and seen what I'm actually working with. And then I do get the extra sales or the upsales. For example, the recent one, I'm replacing one of their machines, and I've got them buying a new server as well off me, because they haven't got anything. At the moment, they're totally running off independent machines. And it's in the worst possible. It's in, let's say, dirty garage environment. So I won't. You can imagine how they look. Yeah. So yeah, that's the way I tend to do it. And then from there, I say it's quite not unusual. I've done one repair, and then they'll give me one person. It started with a desktop upgrade. I got his Mac, his other half's Mac, and I got his laptop to upgrade as well. Another customer, I've got started off with a computer upgrade, and I got their other laptop, which had previously been supposedly fixed by PC World. Supposedly, I say very loosely. And yeah, I don't know what they did, but yeah, then they said, "Can you just swap out?" It still had an old HDD in it, so I just swapped it out, dumped an SSD in it to speed it up, rebuild it. And that guy recommends it's got me doing his office for his business he's just set up, as an example. So, I'm going to say reputation's gone with, and I've not overcharged. Yes, I made money, but I've not overcharged the guy, and he's recommended me. He's kind of tied into other people in the property development world, so it's opened doors to me that I wouldn't have got previously.
I can't tell you how many customers I've gotten as a result of PC World. Long live PC World. Long live PC World. Because as long as they're around, I've got floods of customers coming through my door. Holy hallelujah. I mean, it's when they start having problems that I'm going to worry. Because there's always somebody that says, take it to PC World. They'll do it for you. They have team know-how. Right. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I don't know. Replying to Paul, I have a feeling, Paul, you're going to have the tax man knocking your door tomorrow morning after that statement.
Tech for Tex does not condone anyone who does not pay their tax. Please let this be known.
Yeah. Make sure you pay your tax, VAT, whatever it may be, your bills in general. Right, okay, let's move on to Will then. Do you pay your bills? No, it wasn't that question, was it? It was, do you charge an hourly rate or a flat rate or what?
I think, given the area that I work in and the residents and the businesses, it tends to be a fixed price once I've calculated all the parts and things like that. But I do always leave room for upselling products like Password Manager. Now, this is one that I'm really pushing out now, is a Password Manager, and like your Office 365 or Microsoft 365, upselling it to get them onto the correct licenses. Because they're always using, I've found that businesses are always using like home version or personal use version. So I'll go in and explain the ins and outs of why they shouldn't be doing that, and then upsell them on licenses. But lately I've found that a fixed price is, I'll add all the parts and things like that up and add my percentage onto it and then give them that price. But I'll always tend to upsell them as well. It's great. I had one today that upselled connecting a printer, went and connected the printer up, sold them the support plan, sold them a Password Manager, and they're wanting Microsoft 365 as well. Simply because they had someone that was supposed to go out to them and didn't phone them and didn't turn up. So this happened twice to the elderly couple, and I was out this morning and helped them out and sorted it, and bingo, I've got new customers as well. So yeah, it tends to be a fixed price. If it's fixing a screen, depending on if it's a HP screen replacement, I'll always say to them between £70 to £90, something like that. Give them an idea. But I don't like quoting. I've found this by learning that I don't like quoting over the telephone before seeing the product or the item, because there's always other things involved, and they think if you get a price like this, they think it's too expensive. They won't phone you back. So I'll try and go out to the customer or get them to come to my office, because you always find that they're not always telling the truth. So
yeah,
exactly.
Always,
I do the same thing, Will. I tell them, a ballpark figure of this and this, but I would before I do anything or quote you verbatim, I'd like to see what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Feel free to bring it in and I'll have a look at it and we can go from there. And the sincere ones, they do just
Yeah.
My sort of unique selling point for my location is that I'm able to go and pick up and return, collect and return service, which I do free, but add the price into the actual bill.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it free. But yeah, that seems to be working well for me, and it's a good thing having an office at home because I can close the door, go and get it, and come back, and I'm not missing any customers because I tend not to get customers turning up at my office from home. So yeah, it's good to say being able to work from home in the office and things like that. But yeah, there's always room for upselling. There's always something to sell. Yeah,
totally agree.
Totally agree. And one of the things you said, like reselling stuff like the office and so forth, that's another reoccurring income as well. Yeah. So that's constant money you've got coming in every month or year, depending on how you bill it. And well, it lets you get through the tough times when you have got no customers coming in, or when there's some, I don't know, weird virus going around or something. Let's just say it pays all the bills. So
PC world.
So yeah, and that's the one thing. And I'll give you a tip. And one of the ways I resell like maintenance contracts and stuff like that is if I go around to someone's house and let's just say I'll only do it obviously if it's a small job and it should be like 50, 60 quid or something like that. And I'll go around to their house and they would need something doing. Let's just say it was just the security installing, or they just got a slow machine which just needed the updates sorting out, or something along that lines. I'd basically say to them, right, okay, I can either charge you 60 quid now, or I can sign you up to a maintenance contract. You don't have to pay anything straight away. You'll just get billed on the first of every month. You're going to get billed X, Y, Z out, and you find like run about, I'd say probably about 4 out of 5 people go for it. So they'll go, oh, I'm saving 50 quid. Well, they're not actually. Over the long term, they're going to be paying a hell of a lot more. But then you've got them basically, and you've got them on your mailing lists. And then if they need any work in the future, you're the first person you think of. Need a new machine and so forth. And that's where we get a lot of our custom from these days. Is from the labour or from maintenance contracts. Yeah,
they ring me up and they say, I have computer insurance. And it confuses me really, or it did, when it first kicked off. They says, I took out some computer insurance. I said, with who? And I said, with you. And I said, computer insurance, maintenance contract. Yes. Okay. So I know what you're talking about. And then I get them to tell me what's going on, and I book field in to go out, because usually those are our fields that he deals with is the maintenance contract customers. They sometimes venture in the store, but most of the time those are Phil's babies that he deals with on the call outs. They're a lot of fun. They can be a lot of fun on a telephone.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Let's just quickly go through some of the chat before we move on to Bruno. Let's have a look. So, where was we now? One good one from Peter, and it's always good things coming from Peter. It's never rarely lets us down, let's put it that way. So normally try and overestimate slightly on site labour. Yeah, so when you're visiting people, we do this. We'll always say, tell them the worst case scenario, and if it's any less, then we're hey. So if it's going to cost, if you think it's going to be anywhere between 50 and 100, I'll always say to them, worst case scenario, it's going to be £100. It could be less. It just depends on how long it takes, or something along that. Or you could just tell them it's going to be the highest price and just leave it at that, and then give them a nice surprise when you give them a smaller bill if you do. Or you could just charge them the flat rate because they've called you out and they've agreed to it already. So that's up to you. Right, so let's have a look. Yeah, Paul basically says all his books are clean and uncooked. Yeah, I believe you. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's absolutely fine. So, right, but Peter's also saying it's always good to get the customer through your door and you can see what they have, and sometimes they end up buying other bits, or a new customer when they see what you've got. Yeah, sometimes it's just about getting people in the door. And there's something on a post on one on Tech for Text the other day about, I think it was on Text, or was it Target's user group? I think it was Target Components user group. There's someone about packing peanuts or foam or whatever coming in the boxes and stuff, that it was a pain because it got everywhere. Well, use that as an opportunity to offer it free to your customers on Facebook or whatever. Say, hey, we've got loads of packing peanuts. Do you want them? You can use them for your eBay parcels and stuff. And you get someone in the door. Then you can sell them some paper, a new PC, memory stick, whatever you want, security. It just gets someone in the door. Getting them in the door is half of the job. And that's it. There's a lot of time once you build the trust like that, then they'll pass the name on and so forth. So even if you don't want to do that, you can always offer it to your local post office or something like that, or social media groups and so forth if you're wanting to. But yeah, yeah, that's true. Right, let's go on to Bruno. So we've not spoke to Bruno. So Bruno, do you charge like an hourly rate or a fixed rate?
It depends of what it is. If it's things like cables, I tend to find the in between of if they're getting it from Amazon for £5, but then if they go to a store and it's £8 at Curry's, and then if I buy it for £2-3, I'll probably sell it for something like 5 or 6. So something that justifies the fact that I bought the stock or whatever and made the sale. However, because I work from home, I don't really hold that much stock other than things like SSDs, memories, and basic things. And my approach to my customers is very similar to Jenni, as in, they're buying a computer, I'll ask about the antivirus, the anti-malware, the Office, things like that. However, all the products that I sell, I've either used them at some point or I'm currently use them. So for example, now I'm using Malwarebytes and BullGuard. So I've used Beat Defender before. So these 3 solutions are the only 3 that I offer to my customers. And because I sell what I'm using or what I've used, I know in firsthand the experience, and it's so much easier to sell to a customer when you're explaining why they should go for more Malwarebytes or for BullGuard instead of McAfee or something like that. I just find that it's much easier when you believe what you're selling, and
yeah, absolutely.
It can't be hard to upsell from McCrappy though, can it? Really?
True.
But if you don't know any different, So I'm like you. You said it really well, Bruno. I sell what I use, and what I know. If I have sold Norton before, I can't believe I'm admitting it, but I had one copy in the store because this one guy used to always come in and want Norton, and that was his copy of Norton, basically. But I don't anymore. It's BullGuard or nothing, because I don't believe in what Norton is about. I can't sell it if I don't believe in it.
But you've got to have confidence in your product.
Yes, if I don't have confidence in it, I just can't sell it to someone.
Yeah, we get this the same with a lot of our suppliers. They'll say, "Oh, you need to go and buy this new whatever line of, let's say, keyboard and mice we've got in," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not selling it until I see any of it." And then it's like, "Well, send us a few demo ones over for us to have a look at," and you never see them. And it's like, unless I see them and try them and play with them, I'm not gonna sell them. It's as simple as that.
Double for headsets and speakers.
Yeah. Luckily, we're in a position where we've got the review side of the business. Well, 2 separate businesses, Tech for Techs and Chips Computers, but we've got the review side thing, so we can check things out first and basically say we'll review the product. And we've had a few shaky ones what we're in the process of reviewing at the moment, which we definitely won't be stocking in the store. No. I'm not saying who yet what, because there's a few things going off in that side of things, but we'll fill you in once we know. I don't want to get myself in too much trouble on that one. Right.
Yeah, I think we need to stop right now.
Leave it for the offline part.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want a lawyer knocking on my door in the morning. So, right, okay. Rather than going through all the different forms and so forth, let's just go through chat. Who was it? Oh yeah, what sort of percentages does everyone add on for like replacement parts? Who was it who asked that? Was it Steve, was it, earlier on? I know someone asked it. Sorry, whoever it was. I can't remember it was now. Yeah, Stephen Martin. Here we go. I knew I'd seen it somewhere. What percentage do you add on top for replacement parts such as screens, SSDs, etc.? Well, for ourselves, we charge obviously the labour first. We have a fixed fee depending on the type of job. So if it's a screen repair, it's one fee. If it's like a memory upgrade, it's another fee, and so forth. So it really depends on what it is. So we've got a labour charge and then the price of the part. And it really depends on the part, in all honesty, because some parts you can buy for £1 and you can sell it for a hell of a lot more, and then other parts you might only be able to put 20 or 30% on top. So, but ideally we aim for 30% on ours on the actual parts, because most of our stuff comes through on the labour side of things, to be honest with you. But you have to remember when you are pricing anything like that for parts is you've got to cover that under a warranty of however long it may be, depending on the part. So you need to cover your time if anything ever goes wrong with it within your labour fee and the parts fee as well. So it's always good to make sure you charge a little bit extra to cover that, just in case it comes back with the same issue. For example, it's a DC socket for a laptop or something on that lines, because we know how people like to blame us, even though they broke it again and so forth. Just because we fixed it a year ago, they're going to bring it back in. It's never worked since I got it back from you 10 years ago. They're going to say that. So
you need that covered for a year.
Bring up that internet history, bub.
The screen cracked by itself, Phil.
But no, seriously, don't forget to add in also one fee that a lot of people do forget: shipping. If you're buying that part, you've got to account for your shipping costs as well. It's all right and well and good to look at Target's website. Shout out to you, and say, "Oh, I bought it for this amount." No, you didn't. You need to bring in your VAT onto it, and you need to bring in your shipping onto it, and anything extra that you paid getting it there. You have to cover everything.
I agree with that. I mean, I always take into account if it's cables. I mean, I keep like USB leads, charge leads, whatever various USB leads you people got. I usually with those in bulk, about 20, 30 of each, for example. But I always add in on top of any markup on anything, it's plus delivery, what it's cost me to get it in, and then that percentage, the markup goes on top of that. Yeah. Then I've got it covered. And if I just happen to need other bits from the same supplier, happened a few weeks ago, for one was a repair, one was a stock resupply, I just ordered everything in one go, one order.
Yeah.
So I've kind of absorbed the delivery charge within an order I was going to be placing anyway. It's a fixed charge anyway. So
that's it. Looks like Bruno's getting a bit hot. He's going to be either that or he's getting stressed. Either that or he's getting stressed and he's jumping out the window.
Not on my show.
Which I don't advise for anyone who's watching to jump out the window, just in case anyone's stupid enough to try it. Okay, right? Okay,
you didn't see it on Tech for Text. Okay,
yeah, exactly. Right. Okay. Nick says he's got a weak signal on 3G. Come on, Nick, you're in the tech industry. Get yourself a 5G dongle or something. Come on now. But yeah, no problem, Nick. Catch us later. Right, let's just go around and ask each other what sort of prices we actually charge for things like services and so forth. So, because I'm guessing a lot of people want to know how much we charge. So I'm going to start it off. Jen knows our prices, so she's going to speak on my behalf. I'm just going to ask the question. So, okay, how much do we charge for servicing a computer? So that's going to be like just a general clean up or something along that lines.
£60.
That's correct. Right, Ben, what sort of price do you charge?
£72 for reinstall.
72. That's for a reinstall, though.
Yeah, I don't generally do the cleanup because I find the time you start.
Well, why don't we do reinstall? Make it fair across the board.
We'll do that next. So, Tim, do you do a service?
Yeah, I tend to usually make that based on labour. Usually works out to be about 60, 70 pounds per machine. But as a rule, I do it depending on how long it takes to be fairer with that. And then I give them the bill after it's done. So,
okay, that's fine. What about yourself, Will?
For a computer MOT, as I call it, it's about £45.
Okay, and that's pretty good. That's actually looking at our survey history for what we've done in the Tech for Techs group. The actual average charge is £45. So that's so you're spot on there. Well, but again, depends on where you are in the country.
Yeah.
Different places have different charges.
For example, just quickly, for NHS just now, I'm on the blue light card as well, and I do it for NHS staff, £25. But that's only for local staff. So just for NHS now.
Yeah. So now you're going to get NHS staff coming all from all around the country to see you. What about yourself, Bruno?
I charge £40. Sometimes I charge 60 if I see that is a really old laptop that is still running on a hard drive and it's going to take me a while to get things moving. I'll just say 60 straight away. And the ones that I charge 40 does not include any fans cleaning, thermal paste replacement, nothing like that. It's literally just software.
So you've sort of got like 2 brackets for that. So a basic service and an advanced one. So yeah, that's pretty good. And also what people got to be aware is some of the guys here are actually in stores and some people are actually working from home as well. So the prices will go for a little.
On my service, what that entails is cleaning up of malware, driver updates, cleaning out the rubbish on it, as we all know, general service. And then at the end of it, I did something during lockdown that I've continued on doing. I wiped down, before I touch it, I wipe down the computer and make sure that it's nice and sanitary for me to touch. And then after I'm done with it, I wipe it down again before I hand it back to the customer and put a sanitized sticker on it. And when I say wipe it down, I don't mean just take a rag and no. I mean, I actually get proper chemicals, alcohol-based solutions that kills bacteria. And when I hand it back to them, they always say, "Oh, it smells so fresh. Oh, what do you use to clean it?" And I point over on the shelf right there. "Oh, I'll have to get me some." Seriously, you can sell your cleaning products just by handing back a freshly presented computer.
That's it. 2 points from that. Number one, a lot of the machines that we get coming in, I think we need to hose them down, not just wipe them down. They come in a hell of a state. And secondly, if you ever visit our store and you see lots of bottles of vodka and whiskey in the back, now you know what it's used for. We don't use it for consumption. Okay?
Of course.
So right, okay. So we've got rough prices there. What we charge. So Ben started us off already with reinstalling Windows. So how much do we charge for reinstalling Windows, Joe?
£70.
Okay.
Yes,
no, 75 now. Get it right.
Oh, give me a break. I'm hot and sweaty.
That's another conversation. That's another conversation. Right. Now, how much was it you charged again, Ben?
£72.
£72, a similar sort of price. Tim?
60 if it's, we'll say, a reasonably fast machine, say i3 upwards. If it's slightly older, I usually sometimes say 80 if they want work done with it, because you don't know. For some people still want you to put on, for example, Windows 7 or something like that, which takes longer to install than Windows 10. So
okay. That's pretty good. What about you, Will?
Anything again from £45 to £65, depending on the age of the laptop and things, or desktop, which I need to put my prices up probably, but yeah. But if they've not got a license, then obviously full price of the Windows as well. So
yeah, you'd be surprised. Put your pricing up, you'll find most people don't even notice, to be honest with you.
At minimum, I would charge $55 because you got to do drivers and all that and everything.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
you're worth that.
I have a caveat as well. I won't do installs on hard drives anymore, unless if they come in with a machine and hard drive, I'll say to them, "Look, you need to take an SSD upgrade for this machine." If you want to install.
I don't. I will reinstall Windows on anything, but I will say to them, I see you've got a traditional hard drive in here. Now, if you want performance boost, might I recommend that you update to the solid state drive. And do you know that usually before they get out of the door good or off the phone with me, I have upsold?
And that's it.
But they've got the choice.
What about yourself, Bruno? How much are you charging for a reinstall?
I just took note that I need to raise my prices. So I've been charging £40 for either Windows installation or reinstallation, which clearly I'm way underpriced. So it's something that needs to be changed.
Yeah. Stick your prices up. You'll be surprised how many people don't notice. Let's just say you did lose 1 or 2 customers. For that extra tenner you're going to be charging, you can afford to lose 25% of them.
Yeah.
But
if you think about it, plus you get less work as well, but more money.
The customers that value you and appreciate you and your time and your effort, and for you taking up time with them and helping them, they won't mind. They won't mind a bit because they know you're worth it.
Now, another question, and this is an upselling one to do with reinstalling Windows. Do you include data recovery or transfer, should we say? If you're obviously wiping the machine, do you copy the data off using something like Fab's Backup or whatever it may be and put it back in? Is that included in the price, or are you charging extra for that? So, Jen, how much extra do we charge for that?
£30 extra for a reinstall data recovery. And here is the thing. If they want data recovery to do with Windows reinstalls and stuff like that, that's your time. And you had to pay Fabrice for his program to back it up with if you're using Fabs. If you're using something else, you had to pay them. And think about it. How long does it take to reinstall Windows on an SSD? Not very long, right? But then you've got to do drivers, you've got to do updates and all that. And you have to do all of this before you can put the data back on. So yeah, there's a charge, all right. There is definitely a charge. And that's also to do with how much data there is to be backed up. That covers a certain amount. And if you go over, then there's more of a charge. That doesn't, go for like 4 terabytes of data or something like that. Stupid. No.
Yeah, and also on top of that, if people want like extra programs putting back on, let's say Sage, Office, whatever, we'll sometimes, depending on the job, add another charge on top. We leave that discretion to Jen's discretion or mine, depending on who's working. So, Ben, do you charge extra for data transfer, or do you even offer the service?
I do offer the service, but I don't charge extra for it. Maybe I should look at starting charging extra for it now. I don't use Fabs or any other software because most of my customers are quite basic when they come in. It's all in documents, pictures, music, and I just drag and drop.
I do it for accuracy reason.
If it's going to take ages to do, I'll just leave the machine plugged in, doing its thing, like going off and doing another job. So it's not physically labor intensive for me.
Yeah, so it's something to look into is doing that. But I would suggest you have a look at Fabs, even for doing basic stuff. It gives you a report at the end. So if someone comes and says you didn't copy all my documents over, you'll have a report that says you copied everything over. It's cheap as hell as well. I think it was 35, 40 quid for a year. So it's silly prices. By the time you've done one job, you paid for it.
We did a review on it. So look on the channel for the Fabs Auto Backup review and watch that, and if you have any questions, you can always tag him in the group because he's in the group. He's very approachable, really nice guy.
Even stuff like Microsoft Office and stuff like that, he'll copy like the Outlook profiles, internet history, favorites, and different things, bookmarks and stuff. Tends to be the stuff what people are missing usually the most is the internet bookmarks and stuff. Oh, I can't find my bookmark to get onto my game of playing drafts or whatever it may be.
Link is gone.
So, but yeah, it's very, very handy tool. So I find the report there a bit best because it leaves you a report at the end and it's pretty good. And you can transfer stuff directly from Windows, or you can use it like the driving a caddy or something like that. And it's pretty good. Right, let's go over to Tim. Do you charge extra for data?
Yep. So I normally charge 40 for data if it's we'll say a normal use device. If it's a business machine, I tend to do it per hour unless it's thrown in there. I've got them on a monthly IT support contract, and then it's thrown in with that price. It's absorbed through that, so they're paying for it, but they just don't realise it, and it keeps them happy. So
there you go. What about yourself, Will? Do you charge extra for stuff like that?
No, if I'm doing a solid state drive, I normally include it in the price. And simply because Fabs is awesome. Takes no time at all. Fires right through it, transfers it, gives you a report. So, and I'm doing other things to be fair. So, but yeah, it's something that I'm going to look at generally to up my price. Yeah.
You know, when we first started using Fabs, I thought it was short for fabulous. I really did, because that's some fabulous stuff. And then I got in touch with Fabrice and everything, and it clicked in. What it was Fabrice's name kind of shortened down. But yeah, I call him Mr. Fabulous in the group. I always say, Mr. Fabulous, you can answer this, and tag him in. If you guys don't stay out of that chat room, I'm going to turn it off and mute it.
Shoot Ben, it's his fault. If anyone's wondering what we're on about who's watching, we've got a private chat, and Ben's talking away on his own. He's talking about Amiga stuff. No, not really. but Ben was basically asking, does Fabs do like a clone, like a direct copy sort of thing? But it just actually copies the profiles for anyone else who's wondering as well, if you haven't used it. So it's more of a profile copy with data. You can add extra folders on as well, and multiple profiles and stuff like that. Right. Okay, so let's go on to Bruno then. Bruno, do you charge extra for data?
I do charge £40 for data or for cloning the drive. So okay, it doesn't make me feel as bad now for undercharging on the Windows reinstallation.
You're making it
up. So yeah, I do always offer to either clone the drive if that's an option, or charge extra £40. I know, you all are gonna disagree with me. I got the Fabs because I saw what you guys were talking in the group, and I got Fabs because I was curious. I tried it myself. I tried it with a couple of customers. I found it very particular, as in it gets those files that you don't normally tend to kind of back up or pick up, like the favorites and things like that. However, I don't really tend to use it. I find it more useful, and this is just me, to just copy the user profile and explaining to the user, saying, look, all of these folders are going to be copied. Is there anything else? Yes, no. If there's no, we'll copy, put a folder on the desktop saying backup and the name of the customer, and then yes, all the folders there splitted as they were on the other machine. Just for the fact that some people like to do the reset on the machine because it was someone else that was using the machine, or because they want a fresh start, or and that kind of thing. So I always do it this way. But then again, I've tried Fabs, and it really is good for basically what it's advertised, isn't it?
It does what it says on the tin.
Yeah, but if I do come across a elderly customer that says, oh, I have pictures here and these there and blah blah, and I see that they might be struggling, going into the new folder and looking for the things, then I'll probably just use Fabs to do everything, so it doesn't clash with the customer.
Yeah, that's pretty good advice there. What we usually charge extra for a lot of time, it's not always down because it takes longer to do, even though it can be quite fast in some cases and really long in others, especially if you're copying from an old hard drive or something like that. It also, the charges to cover for when the customer calls you back up and they can't find XYZ, and then you have to just tell them on the phone how to use file search or whatever it may be, or File Explorer in Windows because they're not used to it, or something along that lines, and then the obviously the constant calls after that.
Box.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
Where is it? I don't have a search bar. What's a taskbar?
I just
circle down here. That could be
I had a
anything.
call this morning on the phone, and it took me literally 15 minutes to get them to find where the clock was on the screen. So
I had one man argue that there is no clock on his machine. And he didn't realize that what I call military time was actual clock.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a digital clock. He was looking for a big clock face. But there we go. Right.
It might be worth mentioning, I do charge instead of 40, 65 if that's over 150 gigabytes. And that's because normally the average customer has something like 20 gigabytes maximum when we transfer, and it's either less than 100 or over 300. So I did put that kind of to cross the limit, because if a customer shows up and he has like 2 terabytes of games and things like that he wants to cross, it's going to take ages. So I do charge extra for that.
We do.
Yeah, that's true as well. So yeah, we do charge a bit extra if it is going to be a little bit more. Don't usually tend to like copy game folders, but again, Fabs, you can tell it to copy Steam. You can even tell Fabs to copy drivers over. So on the newer versions, which is pretty good as well. So it saves you time hunting drivers. But there we go. Right. Unless there's anything else anyone wants to add, I'm just looking at the time, and we'll be going quite a while. We've been having fun and not realising. So it's nearly 20 to 10. So does anyone have anything they would like to add in about pricing before we call it a night?
I think it's safe to say that if everyone tonight who's watching was to put their prices up by even £5, I don't think any customers would notice.
No.
Or they wouldn't come. They would notice, but they wouldn't complain about it.
Everything else has gone up after lockdown.
Yeah, true.
You're no less than the grocer or the Marks and Spencer or whatever shop. Know your worth. Know your worth.
That's good. And well, my final comments are gone out the window because I was going to tell everyone to stick the prices up by £5. But Will's already done that one. So let's have a think. Something I've said before. How many of you guys think you're better than PC World? Are we all better than PC World?
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
Do you charge more than PC World?
Nope.
Now you've got me thinking. So if you're better than them, should you not be charging more than them, or at least be on par?
That's what we get more customers.
I really wouldn't want to charge more than them.
I think it's £80 for a basic repair, isn't it?
But this is where we get customers from them.
80 quid or something like that. One of my customers quoted me; they got charged by them.
Yeah.
So this is where we get customers from them. We don't rip people off.
Exactly. That's why I don't want to charge more than them, because they are a ripoff for the services that they render to their customers. And I like to stay under the PC World threshold. That way I can say, look, you save money with me and you got a better job. That's 2 pluses for you.
You'll be surprised what PC World's prices actually are on some things. But again, a lot of their prices are the usual from £40, which obviously by the time you add everything in, again, they do the similar things as we do, as they'll charge you a certain price to reinstall, they'll charge you an extra for data transfer, they'll charge you extra for installing programs. I think it's an extra 10 or 20 quid for every single program they add on, and so forth. So they install Chrome, that's 20 quid. They install Adobe Reader, another 20 quid or whatever. So they soon add up all the different things. But anyway, I think we're done for tonight then. My final saying's gone. Will's killed me on that one, so I don't need to worry about that. We do not have a show next week, so we're actually having a break. Something about someone's anniversary or something that I can't make it because I'll get shot if I miss it. So we are not having a show next week, but there will be one on the 29th, and the one on the 29th is going to be a special show. We haven't come up with the name of it yet, but it's basically about Techmax. So we're going to be going through everything about it that we can share with you, who's going to be attending, like the distributors, vendors, stuff like that, what the plans are with talks, plans about meetings, plans about hotels, and on top of that, tickets will be available directly after the show for anyone who wants to purchase them. So again, tickets, I will tell you this now, you're probably going, oh God, I'm not going to pay £100 for a ticket. Well, you're not going to. They're basically £1. So £1 for a ticket, or that's for the daytime. If you wanted to include the evening as well, it works out at £2. So apparently I've just been told by the boss the show is going to be called Max to the Max. Okay, so we'll figure that out a bit closer to the date. Yeah, so it's going to be all about Techmax. So if you want to come, again, it's 24th of June next year. Seems a long way away, 340 days roughly, I think it is. But it soon comes by, and I would advise you do attend the show if you're interested, because we are, well, at least from what I've seen, we're going to be running out tickets pretty quick, to be honest with you. Our vendor tables have basically sold out within a week. We've got probably a few little ones spare over, just in case for people held on reserve for specific brands we'd like to turn up. So it's going to be an interesting event. We've got a few big names there, so some people you're aware of in the group and so forth. So there's going to be a range of people from different services, all the way from data recovery, all the way to refurbished stuff, to mobile phone parts, to your vendors what sell cases and stuff, graphics cards as well potentially, and then we've got your distributors, which most of you probably know, but we'll announce all the names not next week, the week after, so that's the 29th. Okay, so right guys, I'm going to call it night then. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks time. See you later everyone.